Hey YouTube, Homestead Prepper, and today I want to talk about EMP. And what I want to talk about first off is the threat of EMP. And I happen to know someone who's affiliated with one of those three-letter alphabet government agencies out there. No, it's not the IRS, and they are taking the threat of EMP very seriously. And I asked my associate, I said, well, how do you prepare for something like that? And he said, buy guns and a lot of ammo. And then he changed the subject. So I think that the threat is real. And we know that North Korea has already tested 2 nukes, and they're very hard at work on delivery systems, and they're also very interested in EMP weapons and what they can do. And guys, I've been hearing for 10 years that Iran has been working on a nuke. I mean, y'all don't think that they have one by now? You don't think that that's just some story? I mean, another 20 years goes by, and they're still working on that thing. I'm going to make a speculation here that Iran already has a nuke. And now I can't confirm that. That's just my opinion and speculation. And what if we took it a step further and said that it's already been tested? Maybe North Korea tested it for them. So Iran is also very interested in delivery systems, and they know what an EMP could do to a country like the United States. So again, I say the threat is very real. Now, I don't want to get too much into the theory. And when I talk about EMP, I'm talking about nuclear generated EMP. And we know that the United States and Russia both did tests. They detonated nuclear bombs in the upper atmosphere. And what really gets me about the test is the misinformation and disinformation that each side put against the other one. So, we hear that streetlights were knocked out in Hawaii, 800 or 900 miles away. And then we heard, there were no lights affected. And then you'll read another blog, some cars quit running. No cars were affected. The Russians say, a power plant caught on fire, and diesel generators quit working. And no, they kept running. See, so you've got a campaign of misinformation and disinformation out there. And really all we've got to go on when you've got that type of scenario is electrical theory. And what I want to talk about, I don't want to get, like I said, too technical here, but basically if you set off a nuke in the upper atmosphere and you generate some high energy here on the ground, anything that has a wire on it that's perpendicular or anything other than parallel to that intense electromagnetic field is going to generate a current and a voltage in it. And that's basically what Lenz's law says, is that any changes in the magnetic field will induce a voltage or a current in a conductor that's perpendicular to that field that's changing. Now, if it doesn't change, you don't generate anything, it's not going to do any damage. So if, for example, if a nuke were to go off and I were to take my phone here and it was exactly parallel to the wave of energy, and of course all the circuits in there would have to be parallel too, there would be no damage. It wouldn't pick anything up. But if it's perpendicular or anything other than parallel, it's going to pick up some energy and it's going to burn it up. Or it could damage it, depending on the intensity. I think in Starfish Prime, they were expecting some high voltages, and the equipment they had couldn't measure that high, and they said 5,600 volts per meter. Now, I don't know if that's true or if that's more disinformation. But, a lot of what we got here is on information and testing that was done over 50 years ago. And we would have to conclude that over the last 50 years that certain governments have developed more powerful EMP weapons. Now, the larger the blast doesn't necessarily mean the larger the electromagnetic pulse. I think the United States set off a hydrogen bomb over there out in the Pacific, and the effects were felt, 800 or 900 miles away in Hawaii to some degree. To what degree, I don't know. The Russians set off I think a 300 kiloton weapon, and it caused some damage where they were at, But how many volts per meter and all that, I don't know. But I do know that in the 70s, the United States admitted to having something called a neutron bomb. And in my opinion, a neutron bomb is going to be a whole lot more destructive than a hydrogen bomb as far as EM pulse. And I know a lot of people say, oh, a hydrogen bomb, that's the most powerful thing they have. Well, yeah, destructive force. The neutron bomb, as they called it back in the 70s, was like the real estate bomb, because it would not have very much explosive force, but it would give off a whole lot more radiation to kill the enemy. And if you were to detonate a neutron bomb in the upper atmosphere, in my opinion, it would be a lot more destructive because of the energy that it would give off and the effects that it would cause through the atmosphere and come down to us. So, and guys, like I said, that was back in the 70s. They might even have stuff more, more energy destroying, energy specific, electronic specific than that. So it's just something to think about. And another thing I want to talk about is the conjecture out there on the internet and on YouTube about what will survive an EM pulse and what won't. And I just want to show you an EM pulse, by the way. Yeah, that's my flashlight. And light falls in the electromagnetic spectrum, just like radio waves, cell phone waves, X-rays and gamma rays, and etc. But if you go on the internet, you'll see that this some people say, oh, an LED will survive an EMP no problem. And some people say it won't. It will. It won't. Some people say, oh, a car is surrounded by metal. It's a Faraday cage and it'll survive. And some people say it won't. It will. And they say, oh, some major manufacturers done some testing and everything survived except one. And you hear all this. And then you've got all these opinions out there. And guys, that's basically what you've got, is a bunch of misinformation, disinformation, and opinions. So until someone detonates a nuclear device in the upper atmosphere, and we have cars that are protected by Faraday cages, and we have the controlled experiment, and then the unprotected, and then Faraday cages that are grounded and ungrounded. Until we do that, we're not going to get any empirical data, and we're not going to find out exactly what will survive and what won't. So we need to figure out a way to protect our equipment, and that's going to be probably the next video I do. And like I said, there's a lot of people doing videos out there, and they put their cell phone over here in the microwave. And you know what, guys? That's a very impressive thing. And the cell phone, the radio waves or the cell phone waves cannot get through the microwave, and they think that's going to protect in a nuclear blast. Well, what I want to say, not nuclear blast, an EMP. What I want to say is that an EMP is going to generate power much, much greater than the radio frequencies that we have around us right now. I mean, like 1,000,000 times more. So I don't feel like that's an adequate test, and I don't have any way to generate, a nuclear type event, a nuclear type of EMP. But there again, we can go back to theory, and I'll do some tests on that, and we'll do that. But anyway, another thing I wanted to say was that if you're prepping for an EMP, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but if you're driving on the interstate and you notice everybody's cars quits running, and your cell phone doesn't work, and your LED light quits working, you probably should get ready for an invasion by foreign troops, because the enemy's not just going to set off an EMP and just leave us to our own devices. They're going to want to come over here and make it worse for everybody. So, my opinion, you should be prepared for that if that happens. Another thing too, if you go to all the trouble to protect your electronics, and right after the EMP, let's just say you're home and you pull your ham radio out and you want to find out what's going on, after you get done using your electronic devices that were protected, I recommended you put it back in a cage. I would suspect that the enemy would probably set off another EMP destructive device to take care of anybody who might have prepped for such an occasion. So those are just some things to think about. And this is the Homestead Prepper out.